You get a promotion this week, and it's a good one. For about 10 minutes, you feel genuinely proud of yourself. Then you open Instagram and see an old classmate has started a company. Another friend is posting from a beach in Bali, and someone else just got married. None of this took more than a few scrolls, yet something in you already shifted. Nothing about your actual life changed in those few seconds, only what you happen to see. So why does glancing at someone else's life have the power to shrink your own? And why does it happen almost instantly, every single time? Mira is 29, and she just closed on her first apartment. It's small, just one bedroom, but it feels entirely like her own. There's no landlord to call, no roommates, and no shared walls with strangers she's never met. She spends the evening walking barefoot through the empty rooms, imagining where the couch will go. She takes a photo of the keys resting in her open palm and posts it with one word, home. Within the hour, a notification pulls her attention back to the screen. Her old college roommate just bought a house, not an apartment. It has a backyard, a porch, and a golden retriever sitting by the door. Mira sets her phone face down on the counter without saying anything. The apartment hasn't changed size in the last few minutes, and the floor plan is exactly the same. But standing in the middle of her own home, she suddenly feels like she's standing inside something small. For a few seconds, she almost puts the phone away entirely, then finds herself opening the photo again anyway. She scrolls past the backyard once more, studying the porch, the dog, the framing of the shot. It's a strange kind of pull, one she doesn't fully understand but recognizes immediately. This isn't really about apartments or houses or square footage at all. It's the coworker who gets a raise the same week you do. Somehow your own raise stops feeling like a win the moment you hear the number attached to theirs. It's opening a friend's engagement photos while you're still figuring out your own relationship. It's sitting at a family dinner, half listening to your cousin talk about his promotion. Somewhere in the background, you're quietly doing math on how your own path measures up to his. It shows up in smaller ways too, like scrolling past someone's gym transformation right after skipping your own workout. It shows up when a friend announces a pregnancy the same month you're still figuring out whether you even want kids yet. None of these moments are really about the other person at all. They're about a quiet internal scoreboard that never fully stops running in the background of your day. Most people carry this scoreboard everywhere they go, checking it without meaning to, dozens of times before lunch. It rarely announces itself directly. It just quietly adjusts how you feel about your own life. The problem is that happiness and comparison seem to switch on in the same instant, and comparison is almost always the louder of the two feelings. For most of human history, the number of people you could compare yourself to was small. It was a village, an extended family, a tribe of maybe 150 people. That number lines up closely with what researchers believe the brain evolved to actually track and manage. Most of those people you saw struggle just as often as you saw them succeed. Now that comparison pool is everyone, not just the people you actually know. Millions of curated, filtered, best-angle lives arrive in your hand every few minutes, all day long. You don't have to go looking for them because they find you anyway. In 1954, a psychologist named Festinger published a theory that still shapes how researchers understand this moment. His argument was simple. Humans have a built-in drive to evaluate themselves, their abilities, and their standing among others. When there's no objective ruler available, we reach for the next best tool we have, which is other people. Festinger described two directions this comparison can run: upward and downward. Upward comparison means measuring yourself against someone who appears to be doing better than you. Sometimes this motivates you to work harder, but just as often, it convinces you that you're somehow behind. Downward comparison means measuring yourself against someone who appears to be doing worse than you. This can bring real relief in the moment, but it often brings a strange guilt right behind it. Most people don't consciously choose a direction, since the comparison happens automatically and quickly. Researchers who study this have found it happens dozens of times a day, often within a second. Most of us are comparing before we're even aware we're doing it at all. In 2018, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania ran a study on this exact behavior. The study, published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, limited one group of students to 30 minutes of social media a day. A control group kept using it normally, with no restrictions at all. Within 3 weeks, the limited group reported measurably lower loneliness and lower depression than the control group. Nothing about their actual lives had changed in those 3 weeks. Only their exposure to everyone else's curated life had changed. That's Festinger's mechanism, still running exactly as he described it 70 years ago, just fed on a much larger scale of information. Sociologists have a related term for this called a reference group, the set of people you measure your own life against without really choosing to. For most of history, that reference group was small and mostly local, shaped by geography and circumstance. Today, it's shaped by an algorithm, and algorithms tend to favor whatever keeps you scrolling the longest. Here's what makes this so difficult to simply switch off. Comparison isn't a modern personality flaw. It's an old survival tool, and a fairly effective one. In small tribal groups, knowing exactly where you stood mattered a great deal. Who had more resources, more allies, more standing within the group, all of that was useful information. It told you who to align yourself with and who you might be competing against for food or a mate. It also told you who was likely to help protect you if something went wrong. Status wasn't a luxury feeling back then. It was data your ancestors genuinely needed to survive. The same brain circuitry that quietly ranks you against a coworker in a meeting is very old. It's the same circuitry that once kept your ancestors safely positioned inside their tribe, watching, adjusting, staying aware. What's changed isn't the tool itself, but the information it's being fed. It was built to process a village of roughly 150 people you actually knew well. Today, it processes a curated highlight reel from millions of strangers, showing only their single best moment over and over. Advertising figured this out long before social media did, building entire industries around showing people lives slightly better than their own. Social platforms simply took that same idea and made it personal, endless, and available around the clock. The goal was never to make you feel worse, only to keep you engaged a little longer. You aren't really comparing your life to reality anymore, not in any accurate sense. You're comparing your full, ordinary, complicated life against everyone else's greatest hits. The ancient part of your brain running this comparison has no real way of telling the difference. Mira didn't do anything wrong by feeling smaller for a moment inside her own apartment. Her brain did exactly what it evolved to do over hundreds of thousands of years. It took in new information about her social position and reacted to it immediately, without asking her permission first. The ache she felt isn't proof that something is wrong with her life. It's proof that a very old, capable tool is still fully operational and doing its job. It's simply pointed at a scale it was never really built to measure. None of this means the feeling will simply disappear the next time it shows up uninvited. It probably won't, and that's a normal part of being a social creature living inside a very connected world. What changes is simply how much power that feeling gets to hold over the rest of your evening. Maybe the question was never really how to stop comparing altogether. Humans have never fully managed that in any culture, at any point in history. There's little reason to think this generation will be the first to figure it out. Maybe the more useful thing is simply noticing it in the exact moment it happens. The ruler in your hand was calibrated for a village of about 150 people. You're currently holding it up against the entire world, and that's worth remembering. Mira eventually picks the phone back up and looks at her photo again. The keys are still there, resting in her open palm, and the empty rooms are still hers. Nothing about that apartment ever got smaller, only the ruler she happened to be using for a moment